what's going on? Yeah, Icon here, going over the Backlash pay-per-view. Decent show. I mean, honestly, like, the show didn't suck, so I can't give it a bad grade, but I'm not gonna sit up here and say like it was the greatest show. Like, it was just okay. So let's get right into it. Then I'll explain when we get through certain matches. So the opening match for the which was the pre-show, it was Andrade versus Apollo Crews. And after hearing the news that Paul Heyman is no longer the head writer in charge of Raw, and that Bruce Pritchard is now going to be running everything. I was extremely nervous when it comes to Apollo Crews because I'm just like, well, if you're a black champion, I'm like, your time is your time is officially up. But I don't know how Bruce Pritchard did. I don't know how Bruce Pritchard did. So I'll give Bruce Pritchard the benefit of the doubt before I get on this. Before I go get on this train about how he's screwing over all the black wrestlers. So he wrestled. So Apollo and Andrade, they have a good wrestling match. Zelina Vega was at ringside. Kevin Owens was there. Angel Garza was there. Kevin Owens was on commentary. And of course, it went exactly how you expected. There was a moment where Garza and Vega tried to get involved. Kevin Owens stepped in for the save. The interference didn't work. Apollo ended up, he hit his turning power bomb slam drop thing, and Apollo picked up the victory, which is cool because the man, you just gave the boy brand new theme music, so you can't have him lose the belt after you didn't give him a new theme song. So and that was his first title, his first official title defense, especially on pay-per-view. So Apollo gets the victory. Kudos to him, and we'll see if he keeps on with the Andrade thing. There was a moment where Apollo and Kevin Owens were standing on top of the ramp together, and I thought Kevin Owens was going to hit him from behind. He didn't hit him from behind, so I'm like, all right, so I guess we'll drag this on a little bit longer until eventually Kevin Owens turns on Apollo Crews. So then for the actual pay-per-view, the quote-unquote actual pay-per-view, it opened up with the women's six-man tag. No SmackDown women's title match tonight, so instead we got the women's tag team champions Sasha and Bayley, Boss and Hug, versus the Iconics versus Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. And they had the NXT people in the arena, which is cool. And I'm just saying, there was this one black dude who was who was in the arena. There's one big black dude. When Sasha came out, looking as fine as she did, he was in the right behind her shoulder talking about boo boo. And then when Peyton Royce, when Billy Kay and Peyton came out, the same dude, he was just like boo. And I'm like, bro, like, I understand maybe someone in the back told you, hey, cheer for the faces and boo the heels, but I'm sorry. When Sasha Banks and the Iconics come out, there is no way I could even bring myself to even forge the letters BOOO when they come out. So anyway, but it was a good match. It was a good tag team match, and they actually did it. They did a triple threat tag team style, which is something that I love because I hate when they have multiple tag teams but only two people are in the ring. Then you end up tagging people who aren't even your part. Like, I always thought that was stupid. It makes more sense if you got three teams. It needs to be a triple threat match where they can tag in their partner, and that's exactly what it was. And and in the end, after the Iconics had hit a move, they were going to get the they went to get the pin on Alexa Bliss. Sasha came in from behind. She she got Peyton Royce off her. Sasha was able to roll up Alexa Bliss, and steal the victory from Peyton Royce. So Peyton Royce didn't take the pin. The Iconics didn't take the pin. So maybe the Iconics aren't out of the title hunt yet. But Sasha was able to roll up Alexa Bliss, and Sasha Banks got the pinfall victory over Alexa Bliss. Boss and Hug are still the tag team champions, which means we'll see them on NXT on Wednesday, where they face, I think, Tegan Nox and Chauncey Blackheart. So, true to their word, when Sasha and Bayley said they were tag champions, they said they were going to defend on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. We're in a pandemic. All the shows are being filmed in the same building. All the wrestlers are in the same building. There's no reason why the two of them should not be on NXT. So we'll see what happens this Wednesday on NXT and how that tag match goes. And it would be pretty cool if they actually lost the belts and the women's tag titles ended up on NXT, at least for a little while. But like I said, but aside from that, there was they also did like some interviews where they, like, Kayla Braxton was trying to like throw a wedge in between them, and Bayley was just like, it's not gonna work, this, that, and the third. So like I said, but we'll see what happens. And now that we're on the road to SummerSlam, maybe the breakup between the two of them will start to unfold. So following that, we then had Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. I'm not gonna lie, I honestly didn't care about this match. Like, I'm really not invested in this match. Jeff Hardy got a victory over Sheamus already, so I was just like, well, Sheamus is obviously gonna get his win back, and that's exactly what happened. Jeff tried Jeff tried everything he could, but he got bro kicked and everything, and Sheamus picked up the victory. So the feud between these two will continue. Coincidentally, the next pay per view is Extreme Rules. And knowing Jeff Hardy, he's going to do something stupid like jump off the top of the Performance Center when him and Sheamus have their third and final match at Extreme Rules, which Jeff Hardy will obviously win, and he'll move on to other opponents. So, yeah, but as far as Sheamus is concerned, in order to take Sheamus seriously as a credible threat on the brand, it is nice to see him actually pick up a decent win. So this way, when he moves on to somebody else, we can believe it. But like I said, whatever, match was okay, and we'll get the conclusion of it hopefully at Extreme Rules. The next match was the Raw Women's Heavyweight Championship match, which is the only singles heavyweight championship match of the night, which was Asuka versus Nia Jax. This was very disappointing because it started off good. Both women started off very good, but then the match ended in a double countout. So I guess Nia Jax isn't done with the feud yet. Maybe the two of them will have another match on Raw tomorrow, and Nia will probably lose that one straight up. But at the end of the day, I guess they were trying to protect Nia because she did just come back. So I guess that they were trying to protect her and not have her take an L like right out the gate when she first came back. So we'll see what they do with her. But but the double countout was kind of sad. It would have been a lot better if Asuka would have gotten counted out, so at least this way you can justify giving Nia a second match. But if it was a double, I don't know. If it was a double count out, we'll see. But like I said, and the match itself was really short, so like I said, if anything, they'll probably just end the whole thing tomorrow on Raw. But we'll see. So moving on from from the women's title match to the Universal Heavyweight Championship match. This featured Braun Strowman versus Miz and Morrison, and this went exactly how you thought it was going to go. It was a 2-on-1 match. Braun Strowman steamrolled past them both, picked up the victory, and retained his championship. And hopefully this whole thing between Miz and Morrison and Strowman is completely over. So I said, there's really not too much. There's nothing to say about that because nobody expected Miz and Morrison to win the title anyway. So they said, so Braun Strowman retains, and then that was it. After that, we got the WWE Heavyweight Championship match, and I was very disappointed because once they announced that the next match was the WWE Heavyweight Championship match, I immediately knew that Edge and Orton were going to end the show. And on one hand, because I said I'm a huge Lashley fan, that's not a secret. So on one hand, I was excited that Lashley was getting the match, but you kind of knew that Lashley wasn't going to win at Backlash anyway, and the fact that the match ended up going before Edge and Orton just solidified that. But it was a good match. Lashley started the match like before the bell rung. He caught Drew Mack in the in the full Nelson and wore him out. It was very aggressive. He dominated him throughout the entire match. Drew McIntyre got his comeback. And because the thing is, I was prepared for Lashley to lose. I was just like, okay, I don't expect Lashley to win, and I'm fine with that as long as it's a good match and they make Lashley look strong. Fine. And then Lana comes out. And after Lashley hit one of the most devastating rolling spears I've ever seen, Drew Mack kicked out of it. Lana shows up. And then when Lana shows up, she ends up yelling at the referee saying that you're cheating. And then, Lashley and, MVP are arguing with her. Drew McIntyre headbutts Lashley. Lashley hits Lana off the apron. She crashes into MVP. And then when Lashley turns around, he takes a Claymore. And then Drew McIntyre gets the 1-2-3 victory. And I was just like, you know what? Deep down inside, we knew this was going to happen with Lana. And I'm just like, all right, fine. Because that happened, at least you can't say that Drew beat Lashley clean. So if Lashley wants to make a complaint and try to get another championship match, at least he's justified now for wanting that second match. So I'm going to let that slide. But as long as Lashley gets Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam and takes the belt from him at SummerSlam, I'll forgive it all. But like I said, this whole thing went exactly how you thought it would go. Then after that, I thought we were getting a tag team match between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, but instead we had another cinematic wrestling match. It wasn't even a wrestling match. It was basically a cinematic backstage brawl. And there were moments of it that were actually good, because both teams were taking this shit seriously and they were actually having like a fight, like a real fight. But then there was also a lot of like goofy shit that was involved, and then there were like flashbacks and dream sequences, and I'm like, I could have did with that. It was like, I was promised a tag match and I got a backstage brawl, and I would have been okay with the backstage brawl if it was 100% serious and they took all like the goofy shit out of it. And so there was no winner, there was no loser. They ended up fighting a bunch of ninjas at the end, and then the four of them teamed up, and they beat the ninjas, and then they ran, and it was just some weird shit. And but I'm like, whatever, the Street Profits still got the belt, so I'll I don't like it, but I'll take it. And then finally we come to the greatest wrestling match of all time. And as soon as I saw that this was also shot in cinematic fashion, I was ready to walk out of the room. But it was basically, it was a wrestling match that was shot in cinematic form. I guess so this way, because they shot it cinematically, they can edit it how they wanted to make it look so I guess I guess if Orton and Edge did it live, there was a chance that they could have botched it and it wouldn't have been the greatest wrestling match because they botched it. So doing it the way that they did it was so that they can edit it together to make it look good, but it was obvious it was pre-taped because the lighting was brighter. They added a crowd track behind the NXT crowd people, and I'm like, I know damn well this arena ain't that ain't that popping. So but it was a regular. Obviously it wasn't the greatest wrestling match of all time, but it was still a good match. They hit pretty much every finisher known to man except for the perfect plex, unless I missed that. They hit the rock bottom, the spear, the pedigree, the RKO. They kicked out of each other's finishers left and right. But then in the end, but Orton, of course, he had to ruin a good wrestling match, because in the end he did like the mule kick, like JR used to say, like the old mule kick, and he hit Orton. Orton hit Edge in the nuts, and then after he hit him in the nuts, he busted out the punt kick. We haven't seen the punt kick in a long while. He hit Edge with the punt kick and got the 1-2-3. I knew Edge was going to win this match. Not Edge. I knew Orton was going to win this match because Edge won the match at WrestleMania. So the two of them are either going to have their third and final match at Extreme Rules, or they're going to conclude it at SummerSlam, and it'll probably be SummerSlam because that's a bigger payday for both of them. Which means when Extreme Rules comes around, it'll probably be an interview where Orton's having an interview, and then Edge shows up and he's like, "Give me one more match, Randy," and and that's it. So like I said, that's it. The show was very predictable. I can't lie. Like, the show was very predictable. Like, the Lana thing was predictable. Lashley not winning, unfortunately, was predictable. The Street Profits, Viking Raiders thing was kind of disappointing. It's like, I didn't really care. The Orton Edge, it was a good match, but, the Universal title match was disappointing. The women's, the only two good matches on the show was really... the Lashley Drew McIntyre match was good. It was just unfortunate that Lashley didn't win. The Lashley Drew the Lashley McIntyre match was good. The women's tag match was good, and the pre-show Apollo Crews match was good. Everything else was bullshit. So overall, I gotta give the show like a 5.5 out of 10 because there was nothing exciting about it that'll make me want to come back and watch the show over and over. So that was it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about Backlash. What rating do you give it? What was your favorite match? What was your least favorite match? And let's talk about, what's going to happen leading up to the next pay-per-view and where storylines are going. So everybody stay safe, keep it locked, and until next time, for Backlash, I'm out this bitch!